It's alright.
Oh my god!
Yo guys, what is up? Max on a Borderlands 3 video, and today we're going over the top 10 SMGs in Borderlands 3. If you missed it before, it was a little while ago, but I did a top 10 assault rifles. Now we're doing top 10 SMGs. We got quite the list to get into. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. With that, guys, let's get right into it. And real quick, before we start these rankings, these are my opinions. I'm basing it off of what I think is just best all around without like a specific build. Maybe this SMG works really well on your build with this shield and this piece of gear. I'm doing it in general, and they're also my opinion, so you're very likely to disagree with them. If you disagree, just let me know. We can keep this civil. All right, guys, let's start this 10 list. So, at the number 10 spot is the Torrent SMG. The Torrent SMG you can get from Arms Race and is a solid weapon. The reason it's at 10 and its biggest downside is this thing just eats ammo. It does a lot of damage. It can do single target and it can do mobbing on pretty much all the characters. Its biggest downside, the reason it is not higher up, is because its crazy rate of fire and big magazine size means that you're going to run out of ammo before you do most important content, and that's just a huge downside to this thing. So coming in at number 10 is the Torrent.
Number 9.
Our number 9 spot is the Smog SMG. Now, this is one of my favorite SMGs in the game. The Smog you get from killing Scourge in the Guardian Takedown, and has a very cool mechanic that when your shield is full, you're going to get amp shots dealing more damage. This thing can rattle out some serious damage, but when you're not getting its amp damage from its shield being full, its Hyperion shield on the weapon being full, this thing hits like a wet noodle and is very inconsistent on certain builds where you avoid taking damage, like with Amara or Zane's shield barrier. You can do really good things with this thing, but when it doesn't have its shield up, it kind of just falls apart, and for that reason, I put it at the number 9 spot.
Number 8.
At number 8, and this may surprise some of y'all, is the Redistributor. Now, I love the Redistributor, and if this was a list based off of only using Zane, I would probably have the Redistributor at the number 1 spot, because the Redistributor is disgusting with Zane. It is disgusting with amp damage, giving all of its shots the chaining ability. But if you put this on a general build where you're not using amp shields or amp barriers or amp shots or fade away, this thing kind of falls apart. It really doesn't do all that much damage when you're not using its special effect to the best of its ability. Obviously, on certain builds, Chain Zane, it can do some of the best ad clear in the game, but just in general, it's not that great across the characters. It's really just a Zane weapon. So yeah, at number 8, I put the Redistributor.
Number 7.
At the number 7 spot, and this was very close to being number 6 or 7. They're kind of interchangeable a little bit, but we have the Bloodstart Beast. Now, the Bloodstart Beast full auto SMG that you can get from Lilith in DLC 4. One of the hardest farms to get this thing, but it's really good. It has crazy fire rate, fires multiple projectiles, and does splash damage every few shots, which is very nice. I was so tied between what I thought was better, the Chaosin or the Bloodstart Beast, because the freaking Bloodstart Beast red text is Chaos or subsay Chaosin, and I put the Chaosin at number 6 because I think it's slightly better, and I was really confused on which I thought was better, so I asked Twitter, and you guys on Twitter thought that the Bloodstart Beast was just a little bit worse than the Chaosin. The Chaosin's also easier to acquire, but you still is a little bit of a difficult farm because you want like a full auto version with low mag, and the Chaosin's biggest advantage is it does a lot of damage very quickly. You do have to reload this thing a lot, but it's got all the elements, it's got good damage, and every single one of its shots are going to be doing splash damage versus the Bloodstart Beast. Only every few shots are going to be doing splash damage. So yeah, the Chaosin is at number 6.
Number 5.
At our number 5 spot, and I was surprised that I put this at number 5, is the Kibsworth. The Kibsworth fell out of favor a while. It's honestly getting power crept by a lot of other Maliwan SMGs that I'm sure we're going to be getting to. But the Kibsworth, after it received a ridiculously large buff, I think it was like over 200% damage increase to the Kibsworth. As you can see, the base damage of this thing just slumps most of the other SMGs in the game. It's going to do splash damage on every one of its shots. It's got a big mag size, so you don't have to reload it a ton. Its ammo consumption is fine. You do want a ×2 versus a ×3 variant of this thing, just in my opinion. And it also drops healing circles, which are honestly some of the most awkward mechanics in the game. I don't like the healing circles. They're cool that they happen, weapon, but I just don't find them very useful because if you're going to stand still, you're most likely going to take more damage than if you were just running around. But the Kyozen on basically, or sorry, the Kibsworth on basically any character in this game is going to do work for you. It's good for a single target. It's good for mobbing. And I definitely really like the Kibsworth at number 5.
Number 4.
Coming in at our number 4 spot is the Crit SMG. Genuinely one of the easiest weapons to acquire in the game. Literally just come over to Moxie, tip her a bunch, and she will send you the Crit SMG. And this thing does crazy damage. You can either get that or the Hail. The Hail also another good weapon, but this thing does ridiculous damage. And because it is a Moxie weapon, every single shot is going to heal you, making it like so good on characters that don't have like inherent lifesteal or a great survivability. This thing with Moes and like a Bloodletter and an amp shield, you can get infinite amp and you're going to be healing yourself on every single shot. It's kind of OP. On Flak to get lifesteal is great, and on Amara and Zane, even though they have lifesteal, this gun is still really strong. It is one of the most reliable weapons, with its biggest downside being that you can drop this thing if you reload it, meaning that you're going to want to try to boost your magazine size and not reload this thing at all. But yeah, the Crit is number 4.
Number 3.
Our number 3 SMG, and now we're in the top 3, is going to be the Needle Gun. I freaking love this weapon. It debuffs for itself. So Needle Gun applies a stacking vulnerability debuff on the enemy at max stacks. Additional damage refills Needle Gun's magazine. This has a cooldown. As you shoot at enemies, you're going to be building up a over 1000% damage increase for yourself on this weapon. It is only a debuff for this weapon, but it is super unique. It is going to refill ammo as you shoot, and for mobbing, this thing does great damage because it's going to kill things very quickly, things with lower health. But for bossing and larger enemies, you're going to be able to build up that 1000% damage increase and just shred them. Not only that, but this gun tracks, so you don't even need to like aim with it. You can literally just fire it into an area and all the bullets will hit enemies. It is really strong. It does have a little bit of ammo issues because when it refills ammo, it's going to pull from your reserves. It doesn't grant you any ammo. But across all the characters, this thing is very useful at mobbing and for bossing. It's very versatile, and you can get it from cartels.
Number 2.
Our number 2 SMG is the Flipper, one of the strongest SMGs in the game and one of the most reliable across all the characters. This thing has no ammo issues. It does splash damage as you fire it. It's going to be getting a ton of unlisted projectiles. It's hitting 9 projectiles. It has so many synergies with so many characters. It does all splash on every single projectile. It's got good damage. It's got good fire rate, good mag size, and just like will work for any situation, whether you're bossing or mobbing. Any character, any build, you can count on the Flipper to basically carry you through a lot of the content. It is not the best SMG in the game though, which is at number 1.
Number 1.
And this is probably to no one's surprise, the Plasma Coil. The Plasma Coil is one of the best weapons in the entire game, easily, and it is easily the best SMG in my opinion. Now, this is not my favorite SMG. This is not my favorite SMG to use, but I think it is undoubtedly the strongest SMG in the game. It is locked between shock and radiation. It comes from arms race, and it hits just like a truck. It does a ridiculous damage that outshines basically any other SMG in the game. It has a very big mag size. You have no ammo issues with this. It's got good fire rate. Every single shot, it does splash damage. And it's a testament to how strong this weapon is that you can take it against unelemental matching. If you shoot this thing at Grave Ward, you shoot it at anyone, regardless of the element, it is still going to shred. You know, you still should match elements and add like ASE fire and stuff like that. But this gun on any of the characters in the game, you place them with any build, any character, any setup, the Plasma Coil will deliver. It will carry you. It is so strong, and genuinely think probably top 5 weapons in the entire game. Definitely get yourself a Plasma Coil if you haven't, because this thing is a little silly. And yeah, guys, that concludes our top 10 list. If you have anything that you wanted to throw in there that you think is more deserving of a spot, make sure to let me know. I will say that the DNA I did not put on this list. I think it's a strong weapon. I don't like using the DNA. I think its travel time is a little awkward, and I'm just not a fan of the gun, but it is pretty strong and definitely could be replacing something like the Smog on this list, or the Torrent. But yeah, guys, that is the top 10 list. I will see y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.